Did you know that the Bible mentions other gods more than 30 times, even while affirming that there is only one true God? So why did Jesus never directly deny their existence? What did he really mean when he spoke about spiritual powers, invisible authorities, and unseen realms? Today, we're going to reveal one of the most overlooked secrets of Scripture, something that can completely change how you understand Jesus. The Christian faith and the spiritual world from a historical and scientific perspective. Scholars explain that ancient peoples understood the universe as a multi-layered reality, with spiritual dimensions and invisible hierarchies. Jesus spoke within this context, but with a much deeper revelation. We'll use **** clear biblical examples, surprising facts ***, and a simple explanation to show why acknowledging these gods doesn't weaken Jesus, in fact. It further exalts his supreme authority. Before continuing, like this video, subscribe to the channel, share it with someone who loves studying the Bible, and comment, had you ever noticed this in the scriptures? Get ready, because after this video, you will never read the Bible the same way again. The garden where love was. Welcome to a profound reflection on one of the most painful and revealing moments in the life of Jesus Christ. Today, we will turn our eyes to a place that many ignore, but which carries immense spiritual weight, the Garden of Gethsemane. There, far from the crowds, far from public miracles and applause, Jesus faced not only the physical suffering that was to come, but also loneliness, fear, and betrayal. The word Gethsemane comes from Aramaic and means oil press. This is not a trivial detail. This name perfectly describes what was happening to Jesus at that moment. He was being pressured from within, crushed emotionally, spiritually, and psychologically. After the Last Supper, Jesus went with his disciples to the Mount of Olives, knowing very well that this would be the last night before his arrest, torture, and death. Jesus was not in an ordinary moment of prayer. He knew what was to come. He knew he would be treated as a criminal. He knew he would be rejected by his own people. He knew he would bear the weight of humanity's sin. Even as the Son of God, he felt fear, anguish, and deep sorrow. This shows us something powerful. Jesus knew human pain in a real and complete way. For 3 years, Jesus walked side by side with his disciples. He taught, healed, protected, and trusted them. They were his closest family. Yet, on that decisive night, Jesus asked something simple. Stay here and keep watch with me. He didn't ask for speeches nor heroic courage. He asked for presence. He asked for company. He asked for prayer, but the disciples slept. This detail hurts because it reveals a very human truth. Often, when we need people the most, they fail. Not out of malice, but out of weakness. Jesus returns and finds Peter, James, and John sleeping. And he asks, "Couldn't you keep watch with me for even 1 hour?" It is not a harsh reprimand. It is the lament of someone who feels alone in his pain. Jesus withdraws again and prays to the Father. He asks if it were possible that this suffering be taken away. But he soon completes it with a phrase that changes everything. Yet not my will, but yours be done. Here we see the heart of the gospel. Jesus did not flee from suffering. He chose to obey out of love. This moment in the garden teaches us that pain is part of the journey, but obedience to God transforms suffering into purpose. Before the cross, there was the garden. Before death, there was surrender. Before victory, there was loneliness. The kiss of betrayal and the night when hatred Jesus was still in the garden. Praying, the silence of the night was broken by hurried footsteps, lit torches, and armed voices. They were not ordinary thieves. It was a mob sent by the religious leaders, men who knew the scriptures but had closed their hearts to the truth. They did not come to hear Jesus, they came to arrest him as if he were a dangerous criminal. At the head of that group was Judas Iscariot, one of the 12. A man who walked with Jesus, heard his teachings, saw miracles with his own eyes. Judas was not a stranger. He was someone intimate. And that is precisely what makes the betrayal so painful. Jesus was not handed over by a distant enemy, but by someone who shared bread with him. The agreed signal was simple and cruel: a kiss. A gesture that normally represents affection, friendship, and respect was transformed into an instrument of betrayal. When Judas approaches and kisses Jesus, the master does not react with anger, nor does he try to flee. He looks at Judas and says, "Friend, is this what you came for?" These words do not carry hatred. They carry sadness. Jesus still calls Judas friend. At that moment, violence begins to emerge. One of the disciples, overcome by fear and anger, draws a sword and wounds the high priest's servant, cutting off his ear. But Jesus intervenes immediately. He orders the sword to be put away and heals the wounded man. Even though he is unjustly imprisoned, Jesus does not allow hatred to control the situation. He shows that his kingdom is not built by force, but by love and obedience to God. Jesus then asks us a question that echoes to this day. Have you come out with swords and clubs to arrest me? As if I were a thief? Every day he taught in the temple, in full view of everyone, and no one arrested him. But now, in the darkness of the night, he is treated like a dangerous criminal. This reveals something profound. When the truth is uncomfortable, it becomes persecuted. The disciples, overcome with fear, flee. Those who pledge fidelity unto death now run for their own lives. Jesus is left alone. Completely alone. The solitude that began in the garden now becomes complete. He is bound, pushed, and taken away to be interrogated. From that moment on, Jesus ceases to be seen as a teacher and begins to be treated as a threat. Hatred begins to grow. Not because he did anything wrong, but because his message confronted power, hypocrisy, and false religiosity. Jesus did not merely speak of God. He revealed God, and that was unbearable for many. This night marks the official beginning of Christ's public humiliation. From here on, each step will be more painful, more unjust, and more cruel. Yet, Jesus does not resist. He voluntarily walks towards suffering because he knew that this path would lead to redemption, and the worst was yet to come. Judged by a lie. Condemned without guilt, Jesus is taken from one place to another like an inconvenient object. First before Annas, then Caiaphas, the high priest. The haste of that early morning reveals the fear of the religious authorities. They were not seeking justice. They were seeking a reason to condemn Jesus as quickly as possible. Before the people awoke and questioned that unjust imprisonment, false witnesses are called. The accusations contradict each other. Some distort words that Jesus said, others invent stories. Nothing holds up. Even so, the trial continues. Jesus' silence is more disturbing than any defense. He does not try to justify himself. He does not shout his innocence. He does not beg for mercy. His silence is firm, conscious, full of meaning. Caiaphas, irritated, asks the decisive question, "Are you the Christ, the Son of the blessed God?" Jesus could have remained silent, but he chooses to speak. He answers clearly that yes, he is the Son of God, and declares that all will see him seated at the right hand of power. This statement seals his fate. To them, it was blasphemy. To the world, it was the truth. The high priest tears his clothes in a theatrical gesture and declares Jesus worthy of death. There is no fair vote. There is no defense. Only condemnation. Then something terrible happens. Jesus begins to be humiliated. Some spit in his face. Others blindfold him and strike him, saying, "Prophesy. Who hit you?" The Son of God is treated with contempt, mockery, and cruelty. Meanwhile, outside, Peter faces his own battle. Recognized as a follower of Jesus, he denies knowing him. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. The moment the rooster crows, Jesus looks at Peter. It is not a look of condemnation, but of pain and compassion. Peter remembers the Master's words and weeps bitterly. That look marks his soul forever. At dawn, Jesus is taken to Pontius Pilate, the Roman governor. Pilate quickly realizes there is no crime. Jesus poses no political threat. He is not leading an armed revolt. Yet, the pressure from the crowd grows. The religious leaders manipulate the people, spreading fear and hatred. Pilate tries to rid himself of responsibility. He sends Jesus to Herod, who merely mocks him and sends him back. Then he offers the people a choice: free Jesus or Barabbas, a known criminal. The response echoes like a grim cry: "Release Barabbas!" The innocent is rejected. The guilty is freed. Even knowing that Jesus is innocent, Pilate gives in. He orders Jesus to be flogged, believing that this would satisfy the crowd. But that act would not be the end. it would only be the beginning of the most cruel physical torture ever recorded. The hatred was no longer silent. It had form, hands, and instruments of pain. The crown of thorns and the body marked by CRU, LTY after Pilate's decision. Jesus is taken to the courtyard of the Praetorium. There, far from any compassion, he is handed over to the Roman soldiers. That place becomes a scene of gratuitous cruelty. Jesus is not treated as a man, but as an object of amusement. The soldiers do not see in him an innocent man, nor a master, only someone weak, imprisoned and defenseless. The scourging begins. The Roman whip, known for containing leather straps with pieces of metal and bones at the ends, tears Jesus' skin with each blow. His body begins to bleed. With each lash, the